Test one, two, three. Okay. Fury, can you hear me all right? Because I cannot hear nothing. Okay. Oh, hey, morning, Digi. Okay, because I'm getting none of my audio that I normally get. Like, I am not hearing the background music at all. That is so weird. This is what I get for being so late and getting everything set up for myself. This is really weird that this is going on. Okay, well, I wondered what. Oh, the music wasn't playing at all for some reason today. There it is. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know what in the hell's going on where I'm not hearing nothing that I normally hear, but okay. It was playing, just wasn't being heard. Okay. Well, anyway, fiasco after fiasco after fiasco on already here this morning. Yeah, I did try that. Did you try that a couple of times? But and what it was is I got caught up trying to do a little research on one of the stories that I wanted to cover that I didn't have time to research before. So, and and honestly, the reason why I didn't have time to research it before was I just uh, this weekend I had my grandson all day Saturday. We went out and had pizza for lunch. Then we went to an arcade and I found and he got me addicted, a Jurassic Park video game. You sit inside of it and you're shooting at dinosaurs. Now, it's been years since I sat inside it, since I've gone to an arcade. And I mean, between the two of us blew $20 in no time flat inside that stupid thing. And then this is one of those arcades where you can get points as you're playing the different games. Well, we come to find out that Jurassic Park is not one of the games that gives you the points. So when he went to get his prize at the end of the day, the thing he wanted was like 1,600 points, and he only had 70. And he was not a happy camper. And like I said, we blew 20 some dollars on that stupid game. And come to find out that, we asked them about it and they said, well, not all of these things in here award points. And we're like, well, why don't you have them marked? no credit, no points, no something awarded when you use this. That way, the kids, when we're bringing, we got people coming up here, that we're not regulars, and we're having to ask questions because we don't know everything that goes on, and we're reading the signs, and they're like, well, yeah, playing Space Haven, ooh. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You would think you would have it up there. So he got a little squishy thing, looks like a rocket that squeaks when you squeeze it. And that was his whole 70 points. And he's like, maybe I'll give it to the dog as a dog toy. And I was like, nah, you don't want to do that because this thing is so small, the dog will probably eat it, will swallow it, and end up in the in the hospital, having to have it cut out of his stomach or something. So Ramen talked me into downloading a game, and I played it for a little bit the other day. Um, and it seems kind of fun, but I only had time to play for a little bit. Yeah, and then had the pizza place we went into had this pizza place we went to eat. It's right next door to this arcade, and they've got their own miniature arcade in there. And it's one of these places, you go in and you pay your cover charge, and you can eat as much pizza off the buffet as you want. Eat all the pizza and drink all the soda that you want. And we're in there with our 6-year-old grandson, and there's 4 or 5 other families in there with their kids. And this guy comes walking in wearing a t-shirt, um, using rather vulgar terminology, but relating to having oral sex relieves depression. But that's not exactly what it said. It was a little bit more vulgar than that. And several people went up to the manager, and after going to the staff there, and all the staff said, you have to talk to the manager. Well, who's the manager? Well, the manager's the guy up there servicing the buffet. Okay. So several of us went up to the manager and said, hey, hey, morning, Paul. Hey, morning, Ramen. And we went up to the manager and said, hey, why'd you let this guy wearing that T-shirt in the place? We got all these children in here. And the managers made the comment, said, well, if I kick him out, I'm going to get a complaint from corporate about from him for kicking him out and refusing service. And if I don't kick him out, if I didn't refuse him service and I let him in, then I'm going to get complaints from corporate, from you guys, where you guys complain to corporate. So I can't win no matter what I do. I'm going to get a complaint from court. I'm going to get complaints. And so I'd rather get his money because it's not, I mean, for the three of us to go in there, my wife, myself, and my grandson, the pizza buffet was $35 for the three of us. So, it's not exactly on the cheap side. And he was there with his girlfriend. I'm just girlfriend, wife, female partner. And he said, so it's basically, he goes, well, I'd rather get their money than and your complaints. So I took a couple pictures of his shirt, of this guy with his shirt. And I did go to the company website and filed a complaint and uploaded the pictures. I was thoroughly surprised. About 3 hours later, now this is on Saturday afternoon. About 3 hours later, I get a phone call. I don't recognize the name, but it was an actual name of a person. So I was like, well, I'll go ahead and answer this call, see what's going on with it, see who it is. Turned out to be the owner of that restaurant. And he asked me about it, and I said, well, did you see, evidently you read my complaint, and did you see the photographs uploaded? He said, yeah. I said, well, what do you think? Would you want to take your children or grandchildren into a place that had somebody wearing that shirt in there? And he said, obviously, he goes, I wouldn't. He goes, but you're in a tourist town. I said, yeah, and you still have the right to refuse service, enforce a dress code. You're a private business. It's not like you're out on, the guy's out on the sidewalk wearing the shirt, where unless the town has got an ordinance against something like that, which wouldn't stand up for First Amendment rights, you can't stop, they can't stop him from wearing that shirt downtown or out in public, but you can stop him from wearing that shirt in your business. And the guy laughed. He goes, you're exactly right. And that's exactly what I told my manager. That the guy did have the right to wear that shirt out on the streets. But I don't want him allowing people to wear that kind of a shirt in the business because, you do have children and grandchildren there. And y'all know me. I'm not exactly. Now I don't want to I don't want to put the place on blast, especially since the owner did call me and he agreed with me, and he did say he called and talked to the manager of the restaurant, and he said that and he explained to him that he'd rather lose the business of that one person than have complaints from multiple parents and grandparents about their grandchildren or children seeing that kind of shirt. The shirt was a rather vulgar description of a sexual act curing depression. It well, it technically is part of chain because the guy owns several of them that go by the same name in different cities. So, I mean, so technically it is a chain, but I don't think it's a huge chain, more of a local chain. But I mean, he called his manager, or he said he called his manager and corrected him, and I'll take him at his word for it because the guy didn't have to call me at home. Within a couple hours of me filing the complaint online. And he did, and he said he handled it, and I believe him. So, but I mean, that was just the way my weekend went. Yeah, did you? I think he was a good. I think he's a good guy. He said he was 60 years old. And he wouldn't want his grandchildren to be exposed to something like that. Well, did you? I'm looking up here. What if another customer had kicked him out? Several of us did make comments to him about his shirt and tried to socially shame him. And all he did is give us the finger. So he didn't say anything. He just gave us the finger and kept eating his pizza. Oh, what? Now they did have a pizza there. I saw. And the wife looked at it and she goes, "Oh, that sounds gross." My grandson looked at it and said, "Ooh." I'm like, "Oh, I want to give it a try." It was a spaghetti pizza. And I'm going to admit it was angel hair pasta, so it wasn't any really thick pizza or thick pasta. And it had miniature meatballs. So, yeah, it was good. I'll make it for here at the house one day just to watch the wife, just to get the wife's reaction to it. But yeah, that mean that yesterday, the wife and I went out and barbecue place, spent $50, which wasn't bad. Meatball with spaghetti on it there, did you? I mean, that's, I mean, it had spaghetti, angel hair pasta, spaghetti, marinara sauce, Parmesan cheese, and meatballs. A lot of Parmesan cheese. I mean, it was thickly coated in Parmesan cheese. So, but yeah, it was pretty good. I had I had two slices of it. I did good. I did good. I had three slices of pizza and a piece of dessert pizza. That was it. That's all I ate. I did good. And a cup of Diet Dr. Pepper. So, oh, I do like dessert pizza. This was a cinnamon roll tasting pizza. So it was good. Hi there, Spanky. How you, buddy? He was asleep on the other end of the couch and he just woke up and come over here and laid down next to me. But anyway, that was my weekend. I hope y'all's had a good weekend. Enjoyed yourselves, got out, touched grass, spent time with loved ones. Uh, there's the Democrats in Ohio and Mississippi. I don't know if y'all heard about this bit of stupidity from them two states, but evidently they talked to each other because last week they both talked about enacting the same bill, and the Democrats out of Mississippi actually wrote the bill and has it submitted. The wife and I, for Valentine's Day ramen, I got the wife a strawberry cheesecake, and I put a strawberry topping on top of the cheesecake, like a pie topping or an ice cream topping. I put that on top of the cheesecake, so she had strawberries on top of a strawberry cheesecake. And then I sliced up a strawberry and put on top of that. You almost couldn't chase the cheesecake for all the strawberry that was there. I gave that to her Friday night. She loved it. But anyway, let's take a look at this stupidity out of Ohio. That cripe's sakes. There we go. This here's the news article, and we'll look at the Mississippi's bill. Ohio Democrats introduce conception begins at erection. For more than a decade, Republicans in the Ohio legislature has passed dozens of bills on reproductive rights and abortion. Now, some Democrat lawmakers are sponsoring a tongue-in-cheek bill that would apply to men. The Conception Begins at Erection Act is sponsored by Anita Soman and Tristan Rader. Somani, an OBGYN, has protested many bills that have been passed by Republican-dominated Ohio legislature to regulate pregnancy or limit reproductive freedom. In other words, regulate abortions. It's not reproductive freedom. It's allowing somebody to, in my opinion, murder their unborn child. So she, along with Rader, explained their bill is to regulate the reproductive rights of men on TikTok. After all, it takes two to tango. Somani said it'd be illegal for a man to disseminate semen or genetic material without the intent to fertilize an embryo. She says there'd be three exceptions: masturbation, using a condom, and the LGBTQ community. So, yeah, of course, there'd have to be that exception for the LGBTQs. Uh, because, the bill wants to make it a felony. They want to make it a felony to disseminate or spread genetic material without intent of getting a woman pregnant. Now, it says the satirical bill has been written, but it has not yet been assigned a number. I could not find the bill anywhere. That's one of the things, that's what I was spending my time this morning trying to research, trying to find the bill for Ohio. I found the one for Mississippi, but not the one for Ohio. So Rader, the Rader's a man, by the way, Tristan Rader, said the bill is meant to highlight the vast inequities of how we talk about men's bodies and how we talk about women's. If you really want to talk about the vast inequalities between how the two are regulated, how women's bodies are afforded much more protections than men's bodies are. Women's bodies are subjected to far fewer criminal uh, lengths of stay in prisons and such than men's bodies are. They're punished far less than men's bodies. Women's bodies aren't subject to conscription. But anyway. So now, and just as you know, and just to make certain here, I went to the Ohio legislature, the 136th General Assembly. Okay, that covers 2025 through 2026. And this is Tristan Rader. I've got him down as both a primary sponsor and as a co-sponsor. And this is a list of all the bills that he's on there as all 17 of them. And not a one of them has anything to do with what they're talking about here, saying that they've had anything to do with. I mean, they've got a Ohio Stillbirth Prevention Day that he's with. He was co-sponsor of. You know, another gun control bill, of course. He's a Democrat, so, you know, he doesn't like guns. Allowing the use of campaign funds to pay child care costs. You know, there's that one dealing with children. And then require public schools to provide meals and related services. And that's it. Those are the only bills that he's listed as either a sponsor of what the primary sponsor, which is none, or a co-sponsor. So then went over and look up Samani's. Samani, she's much less active. She's only on 8 bills. And she's a co-sponsor on all 8 of those. Again, designate Ohio Stillbirth Prevention Day. Feminine regarding inmates' access to feminine hygiene products and showers. Okay. Another gun control bill, being Democrat. Okay. And that's it. That is it. So this bill does not exist in the state of Ohio. And I cannot find the words for it. But here is the Mississippi bill. And I'm going to assume, and we all know what assumptions do, that the bill that those idiots in Ohio are talking about will be rather similar to this one here. And this is Senate Bill 2319 in Mississippi by a Senator Blackmun. An act to enact the Contraception Begins at Erection Act. To find terms to provide that it shall be unlawful for a person to discharge genetic material without intent to fertilize an embryo, to provide criminal penalties, to provide certain exceptions, and for related purposes. Be it enacted by the legislature of the state of Mississippi. Section 1. This section shall be known and may be cited as the Contraception Begins at Erection Act. It shall be unlawful for a person to discharge genetic material without the intent to fertilize an embryo. Upon conviction of a violation of this section, a person shall be fined $1,000 for a first offense, $5,000 for a second offense, $10,000 for a third or subsequent offenses. Hey, morning, Data. The stupidity of Democrats in Ohio and Mississippi. This section shall not apply for the discharge of genetic material that is A, donated or sold to a facility for the purpose of future procedures to fertilize an embryo, and B, discharged with the use of contraceptive or contraceptive material method or contraceptive method intended to prevent fertilization of an embryo. This act shall take effect and be enforced from and after July 1st, 2025. Now, the Ohio bill, according to the newspaper article, according to that news article, had exceptions for masturbation, birth control devices being used, and the LGBTQ community. This one here only has the contraceptive devices. So in Mississippi, if this bill were to actually become law, if a man masturbated or two gay guys got caught doing their things, because remember, a man, no matter how he wants, gay, straight, or whatever, cannot become pregnant. So two gay guys would be guilty of violating this law. So at least Ohio's Democrats were smart enough to throw in exceptions for gay men. Mississippi wasn't even smart enough to do that. You're right there, Data. There is more than enough stupidity to wrap the globe. Democrats have, this isn't the first time Democrats in some state have attempted to do something like this. I think it's even done once in Congress and on federal level. If I remember right, it happened once at the federal level. Some dumbass group of Democrats tried to do it. And they're all stupid as hell. Seriously. Because there's a difference. I mean, there's if you were to, if they were to make masturbation illegal, because you know that's half of the genetic material required to give birth, to create a child, then they would have to, you know, the monthly cycle of a woman would be just as illegal for the exact same reason. You're destroying the half the material required to create life. Oh, the foster colleges. I didn't look at that bill to see what that was about there, Ramen. Um, let me. I'll open that bill up here, and we can take a quick look at it if you want. Let's see if I can find it again here. Okay, here we go. And the bill itself, what does that cover? Doesn't say. Let's see here. To require Department of Education workforce to hire full-time school foster care liaison to make appropriation for the foster college scholarship program. Okay, the school of origin means the school in which a student was enrolled at the time of placement into foster care. If the student's foster care placement changes, the school of origin is the school's enrolled in at the time of the change. School of origin, designated materials, da 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 da. Let me copy that and paste and put that over here. There we go. What you post a link to there, Data? And make sure that killed that audio there before I kill myself. Oh, Monty Python's Meaning of Life skit. Every sperm is sacred. Okay. All right, let's see. The school foster shall work with public children. Oh, this lies because they're what they're saying here looks like ramen is that they believe that foster parents would not be as interested in ensuring that a foster child got into college as say their real parents would, so the state would be paying for somebody to work with foster children to get them into colleges. If I've seen it, it's probably I haven't watched Monty Python skits, especially The Meaning of Life. I haven't watched that in probably 30 years. So, I mean, just honestly, I haven't seen that in forever. Um, I didn't, Monty Python skits were good. I liked their TV show that they had, but their movies just, I just could not enjoy their movies. So, I mean, it, some of their stuff like what the night, just a flesh wound, and he's sitting there, legs and arms cut off. Tis just a flesh wound. That was funny. And then the one that took place on the castle walls, that skit was funny. But I mean, I only found those portions funny and memorable in any way. So, but anywho, so let's see here. Close these out because it's don't need these anymore. What's that? Definitely don't need that one anymore. And I don't need that news article anymore. India is a little upset at the United States because the United States deported a bunch of Indians. Foster kids often get no transition period and therefore not the amount of therapy and treatment they need before aging out. Raman, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. The fo- the foster program, there's a lot of people in the foster program for the right reason, and they only foster a couple of children. And then you have places that fosters, as many people as they can get, as many kids as they can get, strictly for the money. They're not in it for the kids; they're in it for the money. And as far as they're concerned, the kids can do whatever they want to. They've got no concern for the children. And sadly, and I'm not going to, it's any state and every state. Sadly, the states don't do enough to ensure that there's more of the first type and far, far fewer of the second. Because all they want to do is get the kids into a home and they don't care. Sometimes it seems like they really don't care what kind of home they're getting the kids into. There's and I'm not going to say it's a lack of money issue, and I'm not going to say that they're all overly funded either. A lot sometimes, I mean, some of it's caseworkers who are burned out and don't care anymore. Other caseworkers who are overloaded with cases and they don't have the time to oversee the cases that they've got. So I'm not intimately aware enough of all the situations. I mean, CPS, we all know the issues with CPS. CPS will take a neighbor's anonymous complaint and try to blow it up to the point where they can take away the children. In some cases, and then in other cases, they will ignore what's going on to the detriment of the children inside. And I've watched a few of the lawsuits. I've watched the trials where CPS just flat outright lied about what was going on in order to take the children. So, like I said, I'm not informed, and I wish more people would say this. I'm not informed enough to make rash decisions one way or another on this. I'm just barely informed enough to be able to say that yes, there are problems within the foster care program and CPS that need to be addressed. I can at least acknowledge that, but I can't acknowledge what the repairs would be or should be, how to fix the problem. And I don't know, I really wouldn't know what to say or do about the problem there, Raman. It sounds like you're a lot better informed on it than I am to even properly discuss it. Maybe I'll make that one of the one of my projects to get myself better informed on it and try to do something about it. I don't know. Right now, I've barely got time enough to do the things that am interested in than to and that I'm already knowledgeable about. By the way, Ramen, I started playing that game. I got to the point to where I'm supposed to go to the subway. And not knowing any better, I went ahead and chose the Templars out of the three sides. So I hope that was a semi-decent decision. I'll fiddle around with it some more when I got a chance. But anyway, back to India here. Let me share this video.
I'm in Amritsar in India's Punjab state, where an American military plane landed a week ago with 104 deportees, Indian nationals who were living illegally in the United States.
All right, so they flew them over on a military aircraft, 104 of them, from the United States to India. These are people who were in the country illegally, in the United States illegally, and of which there are probably thousands of Indians in the country illegally. Tens of thousands, most likely.
And this is how they were sent back home, by U.S. Border Patrol, shackled and loaded.
Not just U.S. Border Patrol, but these were all military aircraft. These are U.S. Air Force aircraft they were on. They weren't on a commercial airlines.
Onto a C-17 in handcuffs for 40-odd hours, the deportees said. That treatment prompted protests here in India, the fury growing with pointed questions to India's foreign minister, who said he would raise the issue with American officials for future flights.
What do you expect? What would you expect your people who have broken American law and they're being deported back to your country? Do you expect us to buy them first class tickets on Air India and pamper them? Maybe supply each one of them with a hooker? To make their trip back to India more pleasant? Or should we send them back in a way that they won't want to come back to the United States illegally? That they're being treated as they are illegal people who have criminally violated our laws.
I spoke with the mother and father of one of the young men on that first military plane, and they are distraught. They don't even know how to function, the mother says.
They spent 40 hours in detention. And that so broke her child that he doesn't even know how to function. Hey, Neil, yeah, really. playing the world's smallest violin. My heart bleeds for you.
ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਘੜੀ ਤੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਵੀ ਕੀ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਅੱਗੇ ਦਿਸਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਰਾਸਤਾ ਦਿਸਦਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਕਰਜ਼ਾ ਲੱਥਣਾ ਹੈ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੋਚਦਾ ਦਿਸਦਾ ਪਿਆ ਜੀ
ਆਪਣੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਮੋਦੀ
Wait a minute. I missed this the first time I played this. What debt is she having to repay?
Function, the mother says.
ਬਸ ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਘੜੀ ਤੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਵੀ ਕੀ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਅੱਗੇ ਦਿਸਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਰਾਸਤਾ ਦਿਸਦਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਕਰਜ਼ਾ ਲੱਥਣਾ ਹੈ ਕੀ
What did she pay somebody, borrow the money to pay somebody to bring her son illegally into the United States? Is that what she did? What debt dealing with this did she incur because her son was in the country illegally? That dowry debt is for getting married, not to enter the country illegally. And isn't the dowry usually paid by the bride? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. She paid somebody to get him into the country illegally.
ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੋਚਦਾ ਦਿਸਦਾ ਪਿਆ ਜੀ
ਆਪਣੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਮੋਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾਵੇ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਅੱਜ ਸਿਰੇ ਤੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਵੇ ਵੀ ਹੁਣ ਬੱਚੇ ਨਾ ਭੇਜ ਅੱਗੇ ਤੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ
Okay, the Madari government is going to be in Washington. He should tell them not to send our children back. Well, how about you tell your children not to enter our country illegally? What are we supposed to, your children break into our country, enter it illegally? And you expect us to allow them to stay? And just ignore the fact that they broke our laws and that they're criminals? Yeah, I've got that for later on, Neil. But you expect us to allow somebody to stay in our country that entered it illegally? Is that what you want us to do there, young man or old man? These children who spent so much money to go, they left their homes after spending so much to make a living to earn money, to get settled. Why didn't they spend some of that money to enter our country legally instead of spend that money to enter our country illegally? Then they've been able to stay. If they would have spent that money to enter our country legally, then they'd be able to stay. But they can't because they didn't legally stay. To make sure my parents are taken care of. So are you one of the gentlemen that entered our country illegally, sir? Now, if you're unable to earn a living in India to take care of your parents, and you felt that the best way for you to earn a living to take care of your parents as you wish was to enter our country and earn a living here, doing whatever. And please tell me your last name isn't Patel and you're going to go to work in a hotel. Uh, you should have thought about entering our country legally if that's what you planned on doing.
मेरा सही रहे।
But here's the thing, Modi likely won't say that very blunt message on such a delicate issue.
Why should he say such a blunt message as allow our people who break your laws to stay in your country and prosper? Why? Why would he ask the United States to allow your people to break our laws without punishment?
He wants to show Trump that he is willing to crack down on illegal migration and to take back thousands of Indians who are undocumented and living in the United States.
As he should. As he should, because those illegals are Indian citizens. They're not United States citizens. Send them back to the land of which they are citizens.
That's because India, New Delhi, is really focused on getting the US to streamline the process, the legal one, for skilled workers.
The HB1 visa, which is actually being abused by Indians. We've talked about that before. We've shown how India is the largest abuser or receive the largest number of H-1B visas and how abusive that program is. Disney and Silicon Valley are the two huge abusers of the HB1 visa program.
To get to India. And mostly, Modi wants to stay out of Trump's crosshairs on trade. Trump has expressed his frustration, calling India a tariff king and a very bad abuser, he says, on trade because of their high import duties. And so Modi will likely be wanting to offer some concessions, offer to buy more American products like oil and weapons during his meeting at the White House. He also would like to lean into his close friendship with Donald Trump. Both leaders call the other one a very good friend. It's a bromance of sorts. Both are populist strongmen who understand that everything is transactional.
Now, getting back to this, and let's see if I can find it right here. I looked up the Indians' laws on immigration. And it's real simple. You are in India illegally, and it's imprisonment for up to 5 years. The law is really simple. There's no courts, no asking for refugee status or nothing else. Enter the country and beg for refugee status or TPS or anything else. If you have violated their immigration laws, you go to prison for up to 5 years. And then you're deported. In Indian prisons, the U.S. prison system makes India, looks like a luxury hotel stay compared to what you get in India. from what I was able to glean in about 45 minutes or an hour or so worth of research, what Indian prison systems were like. They're not they're not nice. So let's not sit there and say that that Modi is going to come in here begging that and used India's laws as being as an example what the United States should be doing. I find it amazing how all these countries in the world, all these countries, telling the United States how we should handle our immigration laws. When for the most part, most of their laws are much more stringent than our own are. They don't, most of those countries don't have TPS. Most of their countries don't offer refugee camps. Now I'm not talking about Europe, the Western world. I'm talking about Mexico. I'm talking about South America, Central America, Middle East. However, you would want to describe India and Pakistan, their geographical, the Asian continent, the African continent. Their laws are much more strict. Their prisons are much rougher that they send their people to that break on their laws. But they all want to tell us here in the United States that our laws are too strict. And we get our elected officials, mostly Democrats, to sit there and say, yeah, our laws are too strict. We need to make it easier for them to come and become U.S. citizens and suckle off our teats. Why would I want? Oh, that's a USCCA ad. Okay. I really like the USCCA, United States Concealed Carry Association. I really like them. I endorse them. They've got a fantastic magazine that comes out every other month. Well, 8 magazines a year rather. Their insurance, which is the primary reason why I have them, $1 million worth of legal representation if you have had to shoot your firearm in a self-defense of either yourself or someone else. I don't know that much about a CCW safe. Okay, Dizzy, you have a good day at work now. Enjoy yourself. Oh, you talking about the Kayla Giles lawsuit against USCCA? Uh, remember, they tell you in the beginning that if you are if you broke the law, they're not going to cover you. If they will only give you the legal representation if you're on the right side of the law. So they're I mean they're I mean what can I say? You know, Kyle Giles, you know, she killed her ex-husband. So, but anyway, I mean I'm just looking at what they've what we're talking about. I mean, all right, here's another one. What's this story about? Okay, all right, I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to sit down and read this because a lot more. Because honestly, until you said something, Paul, I didn't know that they were having that this second lawsuit was going on. So I'm going to have to sit down and read through that. Okay, so I'm going to finish up here with some the Doge stuff because I'm not Elon's constantly making the news here, a day in day out thing. According to the Social Security database, these are the number in each age bracket with the death field set to false. That means, according to Social Security, all these people are still alive. 0 to 9, and this is just in the United States. 0 to 9, 38,000, 38 million, almost 39. 10 to 19, 44 million. 20 to 29, 47 million, almost 48. 30 to 39, 52 mil. 40 to 49, 47 and a half mil. 50 to 59, 45.7 mil. My age bracket, 60 to 69, 46 mil. 70 to 79, 33 mil. 80 to 89, 15 mil. 90 to 99, 6 million. Well, that's a lot of people, 6 million. 90 to 99. Okay. 100, 4.7 million. 110, 3.5 million. 120, 3.5 million. 130, 4 million. 140. These are age groups. 140, 3.5 million. This is what Social Security says. It's how many people in the United States that are still alive. 150 million, 150 years old, 1.3 million. In the United States, the Social Security database is saying that there is 150 or 100 million people aged 150. 160, 121,000. 170, 6,000. 180, 695. 200 years old. People 200 years old. 879 people. 1,000 people at 220. According to this Social Security database, we have one person in the United States who has lived 360 years old. They are older than the United States. They were around pre-colonial days. Okay, that is what they are saying. $1665. They are saying there is somebody in the United States that was born in 1665. I would love to know who that person is. Meanwhile, you just go over and do a quick research looking at Bing. Naomi Whitehead is 114 years old. She's the oldest person in the oldest living person in the United States. She's only 114. She's one of this group right here, the 110 to, she's one of the, supposedly there's 3 million people younger than her that have reached 110 years old, according to the Social Security database. And that is according to the post that Elon Musk made. Now, Social Security is saying that they understand that this is that their database is wrong. And they've known that now for a decade, that their database is wrong. Now, if they've known that their database is wrong for a decade, you would think that they'd have it corrected by now. If they identified this back in 2015, you'd think Social Security would have gotten this corrected by now, to where their database would at least be more realistic at the 100 years old and above categories. You know, the 100 to 120, those two, the 100 to 110 and the 110 to 120 or 119 category. You'd think that those two categories, they'd have at least those two being right. Not showing there'd be nearly 8 million, over 8 million people in the United States that are at least 100 years old. But that's, you know, I mean, they do have all these people with Social Security working from home. You think they'd at least be able to get that straight. Yeah, Methuselah and Dracula. We got a lot of Methuselahs and Draculas. Let's see, here. Only 13 of the 6.5 million Americans appearing in the records being at least 112 years old are still getting Social Security benefits. Now, Elon wasn't saying that all those people were getting Social Security benefits. He was just saying, according to Social Security, they were all still alive. Social Security, you know, should have had this problem fixed a long time ago. Now, the Doge website, for some reason, let's see if they've gotten that fixed yet, because an hour ago or 2 hours ago, it still wasn't fixed. No, they still don't have it fixed yet. Whoever's doing I mean, this is the Doge website, doge.gov, and it's nothing more than reposts of their X account. If you want to go to work for Doge, there's applications. They're taking applications right now if you want to go work for Doge. So, but anyway, Doge, now, U.S. tax dollars were going to be spent on the following items, all of which have been canceled. $10 million for Mozambique voluntary medical male circumcision. $10 million to go and chop the foreskins off of men in Mozambique. $9.7 million for UC Berkeley to develop a cohort of Cambodian youth with enterprise-driven skills. If that money was going to develop a cohort of American youth, I would almost be understanding of it. But Cambodian youth, 9.7 million. Then another 2.3 million for strengthening independent voices in Cambodia. So $12 million to go to Cambodia. Right. $32 million to the Prague Civil Society Center. $40 million for the Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Hub. I wonder which country that's going to. $14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. $486 million to the Consortium for Elections and Political Process Strengthening, including $22 million for inclusive and participatory political process in Moldova and $21 million for voter turnout in India. $21 million for voter turnout in India. Now, India, at one time, I don't know if they still are or not, was the most populous country in the world. I don't remember exactly how they had that, if that was per acre or what, but anyway. Let's see here. 29 million to strengthen the political landscape in Bangladesh. Strengthen the political landscape. Boy, talk about word salad that means absolutely nothing. Somebody tell me how you look at. How do you strengthen a political landscape? Are you sitting there looking at we need to make certain that they got, thank you, Data. Most populous democracy in the world. Thank you. But political landscape, that's, it means whatever you want it to mean. And if you want to strengthen it, how are you strengthening something that is ambiguous as that? Are you wanting to include more items in it? Or are you wanting to eliminate items so that what's left over is more predominant? Yeah, Data. They're ambiguous enough that you don't know what there's no 20 million for fiscal federalism in Nepal. 19 million for biodiversity conversation in Nepal. 1.5 million for voter confidence in Liberia. Voter confidence, all that, we're going to spend $1.5 million to make certain the voters in Liberia believe that their vote actually mattered. So we're going to run over there and run a propaganda scam on the people in Liberia. For social cohesion in Mali, $14 million for social cohesion in Mali. Why is our State Department spending money like this? Why? And the Democrats in Congress are mad that this is getting out to us. That this kind of crap is getting out to us. That the money is being spent like this. And it doesn't matter who was president. This was happening under Trump's first term in office. So when I say, $2.5 million for inclusive democracies in Southern Africa. You mean like South Africa, the president of South Africa saying, yeah, sometime in the future, we're going to ask for the elimination of all white people in the country? 47 million for improving learning outcomes in Asia. Why aren't we spending 47 million for improving the learning outcomes in the United States? As we've learned, you can't just improve the learning outcomes by throwing money at it. The kids have to want to learn. The teachers have to want to teach. And if they don't want to learn and they don't want to teach, you're not going to improve the learning outcome no matter how much money you throw at it. $2 million to develop sustainable recycling models to increase social economic cohesion among the marginalized communities of Kosovo, Romania, Ashkali, and Egypt. Kosovo, Roma, Ashkali, and Egypt. Yeah, exactly, Dana. Where in Asia? So this money has probably been being spent for decades. If not these particular dollars, then dollars just like it. Programs just like these. And the more and more that I see of these programs being sent like this, and the more that I see that somebody like AOC, who 5 years ago was a bartender and went out and auditioned for the job as a House member, now owns businesses and is a multi-millionaire. She was so, according to her, she was so poor before becoming a House member, she didn't know what a garbage disposal unit in your sink was for, or how it worked, or anything else. Remember that? Well, I personally, I believe that's BS because she grew up in a middle class neighborhood, upper middle class. But I I really have to wonder how many of these programs that USAID has fun. And USAID when John F. Kennedy created it by an executive order and has since become pretty well adopted by Congress and given all the privileges and protections as if it had been created by Congress. I'm not wondering how much of these millions of dollars are backflowing into Congress's private coffers, Congress critters of both parties, Republican and Democrat. I'm not saying that that the Republicans are any more pure than the Democrats are. Even though usually I will vote for a Republican before I'll vote for a Democrat. And that's because of mostly because of social issues. And I don't believe that as a whole Democrats believe in the Constitution as it was written. Enough for me to be able to support them. Well, I'm not saying that the Republican Party is 100% on it either. I just believe the Republican Party is closer to it. So let me dispel that nonsense right now. Because there's always that person going to sit there, well, the Republicans aren't any better. Oh, I know they're not any better. So before that person can jump up there and make the claim that I'm saying the Republicans are as pure as the driven snow, I know they're not. But the Republicans have a tendency to do more things that I like than the Democrats do. And it doesn't matter whether it's voting for a member of the House or your local government or federal government, from mayor to president, from city councilman to House of Representatives, from your dog catcher on up, you still have to vote for the person who most closely aligns with your own personal beliefs and that you have the most faith in. Yeah, I mean, I'll never fully trust anybody. As far as anybody to do what I would want them to do. And I would hope nobody would fully trust me. I would hope nobody would sit there and say, Shroom, you are 100% trustable, trusting, and I will never have anybody look over your shoulder to ensure you're not doing anything corrupt or underhanded. Okay. I would hope nobody would ever do that. Because as much as I would like to believe that I would never do anything corrupt or underhanded, you've got to still have somebody overlooking your shoulders. You know, Paul, you couldn't, I wouldn't doubt the CIA didn't have their dirty fingers in it either. I wouldn't doubt that one bit. You know, I wouldn't doubt, FBI and not just elected officials. I'm talking about the people that work for USAID. How many of them are funneling money off into their own little pockets? They don't have offshore bank accounts that they're going to retire to, or bank accounts in their children's name. Who's that? There's a one particular judge that just was making rulings on on lawsuits against Trump, and come to find out his wife is a founder of one of these NGOs that USAID funds and has been funding for a couple of decades. And he just made rulings against Trump and against Trump and Doge and Elon. So you can't, that's a judge that should be disbarred and decloaked and whatever and put in jail. If a sack of money fell off a bank truck on a dark, deserted road, you would pick it up and return it. Yeah, you're right. I would. Because of the simple fact, I don't need to have I couldn't live with myself spending money that wasn't mine. Now, if I found a $100 bill alongside the road, that $100 bill is going in my pocket. But if I picked up an envelope with somebody's name on it and there was a $100 bill inside that envelope, I would track down the person, or at least try to track down the person whose name was on that envelope. So, there's there's a difference between returning money that that you can find out who you can return it to. You can find out who it belongs to, and then just finding when I used to do barracks CQ, charger quarters in the barracks in Germany, I didn't mind doing it because I usually, on my walk arounds, particularly on Friday and Saturday night outside of the dorm, I'd find a $20 bill laying on the ground. Well, we had a policy that if you found money, you put it in an envelope, wrote down what, date and time you found it and where you found it at, and be as detailed as the location as possible. And if by the following Thursday afternoon, nobody had claimed that money, had gone to the dorm manager, the barracks manager, and said, "Hey, I lost a $20 bill on Friday night around this area," then on Thursday, that money was yours. Yeah, Paul. Yeah, you're the guy driving that bank truck. Yeah. But so there's a couple of weekends I found 20s and 50s. One time I even found a $100 bill. The $100 bill ended up in the first shirts office, though. And then the dorm manager put it in the first shirts office, and I never did get it back. It probably ended up in the first shirts fund. But anyway, yeah, I'd like to believe I'd return money if I knew who it belonged to, or I had a good inkling who it belonged to. But if that money was just laying there for me, to be picked up, no problem. Now, for just something to end the show on a little bit of humor, I found this and posted it the other day.
Point one finger, you got three pointing back at you. So check yourself.
Now, there are a few things in life that I will not be successful at: shadow puppets, sign language, heartbreakingly finger guns. This. We got that shit on. This. We got that shit on lock.
Don't you laugh. I laughed, but don't you laugh. Oh, that was funny. When somebody who's got a deformity like that, an issue like that, can make a good joke out of it, like she just did, I've got to applaud them. I really do, because I know they've had to gone through a lot of heartache in the past. But that was funny. I mean, she found that silver lining. And that's all there is to it. So, but anyway, that's going to be it for the day. Tomorrow's yet another day coming at us. And I just want everybody to, if you've got issues with your feet, especially, soles of your feet, where I've got to recommend, I spent $60 on a pair of shoes. She can only pick pocket key rings. I spent $60 on a pair of shoes last week, and I've been wearing them now for a week. And I've got, because of these damn wraps I got on my legs right now, I'm developing. You've seen somebody with cracked heels. Well, the soles of my feet are cracking, and it's painful to walk. And unless there's cushioning, lots of cushioning, but walking on hard floors is painful. And most of my shoes don't have the cushioning inside of them to make it comfortable. Well, Crocs has a pair of what they call recovery slides. They're $60, and I took the chance and bought them. And I am going to tell you, if you have issues where it's painful for you to stand on your feet and you need cushioning, these things are absolutely amazing. And if your feet swell like mine is swelling, these are Velcroed. They're not so you can adjust the size of them. The one thing is, and they tell you this on the website, is they do run large. I normally wear a size 13. I bought 13s and I probably should have bought 11s or 12s because I've got a pretty good size. I got a lot of room in these things. But man, I tell you, the all day Saturday on my feet with my grandson, and my feet did not hurt until the very, very end of it. Dana, I wish I could. Now these are Crocs. I wish I could, but I can't because I've got these wraps on my feet that go from my toes all the way up to my knees. And so, but unfortunately, that's not the way. But man, I'm telling you, these Crocs recovery slides, they are well worth the $60. Just the fact I could spend all day on my feet Saturday with my grandson showed me just how nice they are to wear. So, well, again, Data, thick socks don't exactly work either all the time. Can't always wear those when you're trying to put on shoes. So, but anyway, so I do recommend them, guys. If you keep that in the back of your mind, that if you got find something to cushion your feet. Yeah, they were $60, but I'm going to say I'm happy I spent the money. But other than that, we'll be back tomorrow. Y'all have a good one. Enjoy yourselves. Be with the ones you love. Love the ones that you're with. And have a good time. Later, taters.